She calls herself a made-in-China robot turned creative human.
I went to a youth army school for 9 years. I think my basic education taught me a lot about how to follow rules, sort of trained me into a robot that is very good at testing and, just learning things and reciting. You cannot be different.
But she wants to be different. She's Mojia Shen, top of her class. When she was just 16, she saw a fork in the road. Mojia had to choose between going to Beijing University, a top school in China, and coming to America.
I was interviewed by the Chinese National Committee, and I luckily to be selected to represent China to attend this high school of 200 students from 100 countries. I was more than eager to kind of see the real world, and that was a turning point of my life.
Mojia is now a rising junior at Wellesley College. Her story is about leaving behind a life of structure and certainty, taking risks, facing failure, and moving on. I'm Mabel Chan, and this is One in a Billion, a podcast about China through the voices of Chinese millennials in America. Mojia Shen grew up in Qinhuangdao, a small seaside town about 2 hours east of Beijing. By the age of 7, her eyes were already set on becoming a leader.
Whenever the teacher asks any person to volunteer to lead the class today, I would always volunteer and raise my hand. I was always the one who lead the whole class, marching or singing army songs. Because everyone is only child, you sort of want to stand out as one of this many students into showing who you are and how to be unique.
Wow, so was there any regimen when you were in the youth army school that you still keep today?
Yeah, so I think it's a lot about mentality, how much potential you have and how much you can stretch yourself. Haven't been through very difficult situations, both physically and mentally, it sort of prepare you very well for the future.
Mojia belongs to the so-called post-90s generation in China. She's one in about 300 million millennials who grew up seeing China's double-digit growth every year in their lifetime. Her generation has been described as idealistic, individualistic, and perhaps also fragile. Their backbone is not built on adversity, unlike the previous generations who have endured many disasters, including the Cultural Revolution. 吃苦.
吃苦, yeah.
吃苦in Chinese, as we say, is about eating bitterness, right? That you can endure. The more you can endure, the more resilient you become.
Yeah, it's very important for only childs, I think, because I think none of us really been through a lot.
But 9 years of army training since the age of 7 have taught Mojia a lot about who she is.
I guess reflecting back, that experience gave me some insights that I don't want to just be like anyone else. I kind of want to be able to raise my voice a little more and make a real impact instead of just being one in millions.
Mojia spent her first year in America as a high school senior at United World College in New Mexico. She was overwhelmed by hundreds of others who made her feel scared and speechless.
Yeah, I would say it is definitely life-changing, and it came as a shock at the beginning. For example, the first time I went to a party, I've never been to a party before. It was crazy for me.
And you were 16 at the time?
16, yeah. Just sort of seeing
no alcohol, no touching hands with a guy, none of that.
Yeah, none of that. But just being able to see culture clashes, right? Just as of one case of a party, I saw the personalities of people, how they show who they really are and how they interact with each other, right? I was so trained into such a box or a defined way of thinking that I should just be like a bystander and not showing who I am. But I think they sort of inspired me of just, do whatever you like and explore how many aspects are there in you.
In this new world of possibilities, Mojia realized what she lacked, that many other 16-year-olds in America already had: a voice, an opinion, and confidence to take a stand.
The first several weeks of school, we were sitting in a circle discussing school rules, and everyone was, talking about my opinion is blah, blah, blah. And I was just sitting there for the whole time, 2 hours, not being able to say anything because I realized that day that I have no opinion towards anything. I was sort of trained into this way of just nodding of what anyone else is saying and just being their followers.
Even if she wanted to speak up, Mojia was conscious of her limited language ability.
At the beginning, English just go through one ear to the other and not leave anything in the middle. That was really tough. So I started talking to a lot of people, kind of train my verbal English, and I started reading a lot more and form perspectives.
But Mojia soon ran into another problem. She tried her hand at leadership with Chinese characteristics.
I was trying to establish a club for Chinese students. And I wanted to, be the leader and everyone should join me and follow me. But then I realized you can never be a solo leader.
You can't force people.
You cannot force people. And you cannot just do everything yourself. Everything is about team.
That's right. In America, it's all about teamwork. Leadership is not a solo sport.
It goes back to my identity as an only child, because I think throughout the education, I wasn't taught how to collaborate, how to work in teams. You can probably go fast as a person trying to do something, but you can never go far just as a person. You need a strong team. So I think halfway through, I realized I need other people's help. I want to bring other students on board to, create this initiative with me. So I sort of went through this painful growth period of realizing that and changed my leadership style and try to understand other people. What's their incentive of doing this with me? And how do I take advantage of their skill set and passion to achieve this goal together? So
give them a reason.
I think it's all about meaning for people, right?
Mojia's early passion for leadership, her desire to solve problems and help people, make her a natural fit for entrepreneurship. When she was just a freshman at Wellesley, she founded her very first social enterprise called Revive. It's the first program of its kind in China for parents who've lost their only child. What gave her the vision?
When I was 8, one of my actually close friend, a cousin, committed suicide on the day of Mid-Autumn Festival. And nobody could believe what happened. And everyone was in shock. The whole family didn't even know how to interact with my aunt and uncles who lost their child.
How old was the child?
The child was my age, around 8. Yeah. Just basically in primary school. And then several years later, my other cousin, who just turned 20, died on his birthday.
Oh.
He's going out partying and died in a car accident. And when the second case happened, I started looking more at this issue because there just can't be two, right? And when I did more research, I realized how many people are out there who are suffering from this. And people are in deep depression. They are committing suicide every day, the parents, going through this. And I realized someone have to do something to help them, right?
She wanted to help, but how? At 19, she stumbled on an opportunity. Mojia was selected to attend the Clinton Global Initiative, a conference for the next generation of social entrepreneurs. That motivated Mojia to take her vision on a mission.
I found this group who was active maybe on a monthly basis of 20 people meeting each other and sort of just, chat and help each other. I talked to the leaders and we decided to actually formalize this organization. And we went to the government and registered officially, get more support.
You must have incredible persuasive skills. I mean, what were you saying to them that convinced them? What did they see in you?
I think it's all about how genuine you are. Basically, how people see how dedicated you are to that cause. And it was incredible how much support I got in the end. But at the beginning, I definitely went through difficulties when, People don't trust me. They don't really know what a 19-year-old girl can do. Is it just a joke? Is it a game, right? In China, there's definitely a culture of mistrusting youth.
But youth and women are priorities on Mojia's list of social ventures. 2 years ago, Mojia won a startup competition sponsored by Draper University in Silicon Valley. Her business idea is about food and family. She called it Flavory.
We connect local home chefs with young professionals in their neighborhood through our platform. Basically, is to empower women inside communities who need to take care of their kids and are unemployed and wanted to earn some extra money. They stay in their houses and while cooking for their family, they cook extras and sell their product through our platform.
While her leadership skills have come a long way, Mojia was the first to admit entrepreneurship is essentially a trial by fire.
Basically, you need to learn everything. How does fundraising work? How do you manage a team? How do you even find your team member at the beginning, right? How do you build a tech product? And I have zero background in tech.
So what was step number one?
I think step number one is definitely about empowering myself to understand how to come up with a good business model. And then it's about, who you're working with. And then how do you execute it? It's execution is totally almost everything about a startup instead of the idea. I learned a lot.
One of the hardest lessons for Mojia was to accept failure.
Actually, it didn't turn out the way exactly I wanted. Definitely a lot of down times because I was, first time entrepreneur on startups, didn't know Mexico very well, didn't know the market very well. So it was a lot of struggle. Right now we're, thinking of pivoting the business model. So I think went through a lot of hardships and a lot of challenges, times that I was wondering, why am I doing what I'm doing? What can I do better? So
did you feel all alone?
I think entrepreneurship is a lonely journey, right? You're pretty much alone. Chances that you're going to fail is way higher than you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
But
you knew that going in.
Absolutely. I know entrepreneurship is very risky. But I had this mentality that if I succeed, I'm going to learn a lot. If I fail, I'm going to learn even more. So why not just go and do it? Because if I don't do it, you will never learn those lessons and you'll never know what's the outcome.
At what point did you decide that entrepreneurship is for you? Your upbringing, your background put you in a box and you were looking for security.
Yeah. So I asked myself, what wakes me up every morning? What is my passion? What do I want to spend my time doing that energizes me? I want to be able to innovate and make a real impact. And I realized entrepreneurship is absolutely the way to go.
This summer, Mojia Shen is attending a coding bootcamp in Philadelphia before returning to Wellesley in the fall. Remember, you are unique. We all share a lot in common. I'd love to hear your story ideas or comments for our podcast. Just go to our website at chinapersonified.com. One in a Billion is produced by Mitch Hanley and Robin Lowry. I'm Mabel Chan. One in a Billion is listening to China, one person at a time.